After an absolute masterclass from Ryan Griffin last time out at Denver Motorsports Park, it came at a good time for him because now we're out here in wine country at Sonoma Raceway in Northern California for race number 9 of the 2024 1UP Nitro National Series season. It is fit to be a good one here today with 42 drivers ready to chase the big prize of victory here in Sonoma. And alongside me to bring you all the action once again is Duke Anzac for today's race, and well, this is our, I believe, second road course of the season after Circuit of the Americas, and this is a pretty good time for one to pop up because we've had some oval merchants show their stuff out front. Now it's time to see the kings of the road take to the track and see what they can do for 28 laps here today.
You're right about that. It's the second road course here, and the last time out at Circuit of the Americas, we saw Braden Varga take the win. Well, he's starting all the way back in 16th place today. So really, there's no reason to expect that there's any person that really is going to win this race. We're not looking at any one person and saying they're the big favorite. We've got a lot of different contenders in this field that have an opportunity to win today, especially some starting near the front, but we've got several that are starting in mid-pack towards the back as well. It's going to be a lot of fun here at Sonoma. Completely different track than Circuit of the Americas that we have here at Sonoma. If Circuit of the Americas is like the big high-speed racetrack of the road courses, then Sonoma is absolutely the short track. So we're in for a show today.
I neglected to mention, of course, that we did go to Provo Motorsports Park as well, and Earl Sear got the win there. So Team Duke is 2 for 2 on the road courses this season. Can that streak continue?
How could I forget?
Can that streak continue, or will someone new take the crown? We'll find out here in a moment, as we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 28-lap race. Robert Weaver gets the pole position, his first of the year, and 2 Game Breaker Racing Toyotas are on the outside for the start. Kanalka and Claire, 2nd and 4th. Kev Shearer lines up 3rd. And Nicky Martinez rounds out the top 5. But honestly, anybody in this top 10 could be a contender to win today, especially considering the runs some of them put on at Provo last time we were on the road course.
You're right. And, you know, today we have even another factor. There's going to be a pit stop probably somewhere in the middle of this race. So that's going to introduce some strategy into everybody's day, and it's going to bring the whole team into the race. So this is going to be a fascinating one to watch, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to get the green flag soon.
And it is coming soon. So with that being said, we have 42 cars ready to take the green flag here at Sonoma Raceway, and we are ready to bring you that action. This is Sonoma for the 1UP Nitro National Series, and the green flag will be coming at you shortly to get this great race underway. We got a good one on tap for you guys today. 28 laps at Sonoma Raceway. Weaver and Kanalka lead us to the green flag, which is now in the air, and we are underway here at Sonoma Raceway. Looks like Weaver gets a good start. Shearer did not. He's already falling back into the clutches of his teammate Ashton Blevins as they bang doors coming through the S's of 1 and 2. Kanalka escapes with the lead as we head up the hill.
Yeah, you know, Kanalka and Weaver had a little bit of contact going just past the end of the pit lane there, and we've got a big issue coming out of turn 2, and there's a bunch of dirt all over this track now flying through the air. A lot of slow cars towards the back of this field, but Kanalka has come out with the lead after beating and banging with our pole sitter Robert Weaver.
Looks like it was Anthony McClure that had a little issue coming up the hill. He is back running again, as is everyone else, and now we can make the run down the hill through the S's, as it looks like everybody's going to make it through the first half lap fairly solidly, as more dust gets kicked up by these great race cars through the S's. This is a very technical section of the racetrack. Got to go left, right, all the way down the hill as we make our way through turn 10 for the heavy braking zone, the heaviest of the lap, that is turn 11.
Yeah, this turn 11 is going to be something to remember throughout this race. A lot of passing is going to be happening here. It's the slowest corner on the track. It's like Martinsville corner down at that end of the speedway. But here's Kanalka going to lead the first of 28 laps here after a really hard battle going up through this same section last time through with our pole sitter Robert Weaver. So now he's got a 1.1 second lead, and we'll see after things have settled from the restart. We're most of the way single file here. We will have to see if Robert Weaver or anyone is able to gain into that or start eating into that lead.
Well, we've got our early running order. The margin at the front, 1.2 seconds, as Kanalka leads them down into turn 7 once again. Robert Weaver trying to regain some lost ground here, as it looks like Ashton Blevins and Aiden Smith have settled into 4th and 5th currently. They started outside the top 5, so it's good to see them make their way up there to get this race started, as it looks like Kanalka is riding the curb through turn 9, through turn 10, and back to turn 11, where, as you know, a lot can be won or lost here.
Yeah, this turn 11, I mean, so many controversial moments and famous moments at this racetrack have occurred down in turn 11, so that's just something to keep your eye on.
Oh, we have a crash out of turn 10. It's a red car. We're looking for who the culprit is, and it's the 55 of Will Harrison, making his first start of the season. Not the way he wanted it to start out. He's got some pretty big damage on the left-hand side of that Chevrolet, and the 55 is going to have a rough afternoon from here on out.
Yeah, if I had to guess, he got probably a little bit too much curb coming through turn 9, and then coming out into turn 10 from that section. He probably just looped it there on the straightaway, maybe made some contact with somebody. Haven't seen anybody else with any damage yet, but yeah, big moment for the 55, and we'll see if he's able to recover.
Yeah, it's not... This isn't a very aero-dependent track, so I think he might be okay with a pit stop maybe to repair the damage, but he's in for a long day, definitely, here at Sonoma. But back at the front, Kanalka continues to ride that curb in turn 9. I expect everybody to really get up on that one, especially because it's you just straight line that corner as much as you can, especially when you want to get down onto the brakes really hard. These brakes are going to be put to the test here today, especially down into 11.
Yeah, well, here at Sonoma, you've got some curbs that are really forgiving for these race cars, and you can see he's going to go up through turns 1 and 2 here, and you know, he's not going to use any curb this time. We saw a lot of drivers on the first lap use that curb like it was extra racetrack, just to help that car turn a little bit. And while you're conserving your car, you don't want to use it too much, but it is very forgiving here at Sonoma, so you can use a lot of it without too much. There you can see a lot of curb used right there, going all the way out and off of the course. Everybody does through that section. So yeah, that's it's something just unique about this track. And here's Harrison in for a pit stop, probably to repair some damage.
Tough break for Will Harrison. He might have damaged something underneath the car as well with that slide into the barriers, but we'll see how the rest of his day unfolds as he makes his first pit stop of the day on lap number 3 and 4. But here comes Kanalka. They're probably going to put Will Harrison a lap down at the rate they are going. But he will have some fresher tires than these guys and a fully intact race car to work with. And he is no slouch on road courses, as we saw last season. So even though this is his first start of the year, I would not expect him to be too much of a pushover as he re-enters the racetrack here.
And this could be, oh man, it almost impacted the 66. It will impact the 00 of Aiden Clare a little bit as Will Harrison is re-entering this course. And remember, so we've got a situation here where high tire wear here at Sonoma, we've got a lot of tire wear throughout the run. So Harrison's tires 5 laps fresher than these leaders. So he might be able to start clicking off some laps and actually really start to make some moves on the leaders and possibly work his way through them. It could really impact this battle for the win.
Strong runs as well from Ashton Blevins in the 21, Aiden Smith in the 23. Blevins is yet to get a top 10 this season, and he's putting in a great run here to try and get a top 5 that would really help in his battle to get to the top 30 in owner's points. Here's his teammate, Kev Shearer, back in 6th. He started this race in 3rd, of course, slipped back on the opening lap. That's where he runs. Martinez, very strong road racer herself, in 7th ahead of Henry Thomas. Tegan Fox runs in the 9th position, and Cody Goforth rounds out the top 10. He entered this race as your points leader, remember. Goforth just ahead of the 72 in 11th place.
Yeah, and you know, a solid top 10, it really is the points leader you're trying to protect. So sitting there in the top 10 is a great run right now at this what is a pretty tough track to get around, stay clean on, as we saw in the first lap and then the couple after that. I mean, it's a tough place to get around. You know, you got the double file restart of the race. Just you're side by side, people running off the track, and then nobody can see. There's dirt all over the racing surface. So yeah, to hold it together and keep it up in the top 10, really solid start, and he can start to push forward and continue expanding that lead.
Yeah, so far so good for Kanalka out in the top spot, but back here it's still very much a race on our hands because we have the 72 of Kadirishov here. He had a great run at Provo last time we saw him in this car. He finished 3rd that day. A very strong effort for him, and he's having a pretty good day here as well. In 11th, Brunson Minnick 12th, Braden Varga runs in 13th, the highest of the Team Duke cars. We actually have 3 of them running nose to tail here. Elijah Ironhouse 14th, and Logan Williams back here in 15th, head of Ellison 16th. Cameron Brennan, strong run at Provo for him as well. He runs in 17th spot as it looks like. I think Harrison's back in the pits.
Yeah, that car must have had more issues than maybe they had anticipated otherwise. But yeah, there must have been some big contact with that 55 car. So now his 2nd pit stop of the day is going to put him severely behind. And I think that this is probably...
oh, and he hits O'Quinn!
Oh, more problems.
Wyatt O'Quinn goes for a slide up the hill into the sand trap. He will try and rejoin the racetrack. That's one of the perils of exiting the pits here. You blend right into the racing line, and that proved to be costly for Wyatt O'Quinn, who does rejoin the racetrack, but he has lost valuable time.
Boy, that is tough. I am not completely sure what either of them could have done there. I think O'Quinn needed to give a little bit more room to the slower 55 car. There just wasn't any room for the 55 to go on the track to avoid that. So that is a really tough break for both of those drivers now, especially Wyatt O'Quinn, who was still at least mildly in contention for this race. Will Harrison obviously had just pretty much fallen out of contention, and if he wasn't before, he really is now.
But one person who is really in contention now is that 7 car leading this race, Kanalka, who has a 3.1 second lead over Robert Weaver. Of course, Kanalka looking for their first career win in the Nitro National Series. Could it come here today, I wonder? There is a lot of racing still to go. We're coming to 20 to go this time, but with that big a lead, I think Kanalka is in a great position to save their equipment and wait until the end to start pushing.
Well, you know, I think that they knew how good a car that was, the 7 crew, before this race. How aggressive the start was from the 7 and the 66 was pretty incredible. It seemed like whichever one of them got out front was really going to be able to start driving away. And as it turns out, Kanalka was able to, driving that 7 car, and just kind of pushed through to get to the front in a fantastic move through turns 1 and 2, and just made it happen, got up there, and has now been driving away ever since. So a really solid start to the day for Kanalka in the 7 car.
It's a solid day overall for Game Breaker Racing. They're running 1st and 3rd at the moment, so strong stuff from both drivers. As we look a little further back, Ashton Blevins and Aiden Smith are in a bit of a battle here for 4th position. Aiden Smith, of course, has a top 5 already this season, but he's looking to better that result here today. As Harrison, once again, he has just not had a great time of it in this race, and he might have gotten a little more damage with contact with Wyatt O'Quinn, and that necessitates a 3rd pit stop.
Yeah, this and you can see Wyatt O'Quinn is not elected to come to the pit lane, so he's going to go ahead by around the outside there. But yeah, that 55 car really having a tough race so far in this one, and just sticking it out for now, trying to make in case there's any retirements in this race, there's still an opportunity to gain a few points or positions to end this one out.
Yeah, and honestly, for Will Harrison, just making laps is the goal here today. This is your first race of the season. You've had a wretched run of luck trying to qualify in on the ovals, but here on your road courses, you know what you're doing. As Will Harrison now exits the pits, he'll get back onto the racetrack 2 laps off the pace, and it looks like this time he will blend back in without any issues.
Yeah, so now he's got 10 lap fresher tires. Of course, a heavily damaged vehicle. unless they've made some solid repairs
And
to
I
that.
think they have with how long they were in the pits for.
Yeah, so 10-lap fresher tires than our leaders. So once again, we're in the situation where that car might be able to really put up a fight against these leaders due to the fresher tires, and it could impact the battles they're having. But it won't really impact Kanauka all that much, I don't think. He is 4 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and this battle for second starting to rage on with Aiden Clare right on the bumper of Robert Weaver, although Will Harrison is closing in on these guys, and like you said, with 10-lap fresher tires, this shouldn't really be a contest, even if his car is a little bit worse for wear. As Weaver runs a little wide through turn 10, that could give Clare an opportunity.
Yeah, Claire has been just closing in, you know, riding right up on the bumper of the 66 car, but here is Harrison, who is 2 laps down now, but of course, like we've been talking about, those supremely fresher tires are going to really help that 55 car. And now going for a move possibly into turn 1, not enough there, but through this section might have an opportunity. Oh, a little bit of a bump to the driver in second place from Harrison. A little bit aggressive there, but yeah, trying to get a move on here, get a feel for what it's like to race against the leaders.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is Will Harrison's first start of the season. Here he comes down into 4A, trying to make a move on Aiden Clare, and Clare will give him the space to do so. That's not his fight in this race. As it looks like he's going to get 2 for 1 here, getting underneath Robert Weaver, and that is those two disposed of. Will Harrison can now set off after Kanauka, who is probably going to be several seconds off the pace compared to this 55 on fresh tires.
Yeah, definitely, but it'll still be a while before the 55 gets there. It's just the Kanauka is so far ahead right now, but that's all right for the 55, and we'll see how this car progresses through the rest of the race. But no more pit stops required for the 55. They've got that thing turning good right now.
And this could be a good test session as well for their next road course race at Trois Rivières in the summer. That'll be a good place for Harrison to strut his stuff out on the streets in Canada. That'll be a good place for him. But for now, just learn what you can at this track. Get the info you need for that race, and really surprise us maybe up in Canada. But the battle now is for second place between Robert Weaver and Aiden Clare, because Will Harrison has just taken off, and Kanauka has stretched the lead out to 5.5 seconds.
Yeah, this 7 car just has not slowed down all day. I mean, just a fantastic showing so far in this race. Now, remember, we have a pit stop coming in this race yet. You know, it could be soon. Here we're looking at closing in on halfway in the next couple of laps. But I don't know. I mean, this 7 car, that team has plenty of breathing room, about 5 seconds of breathing room to be exact for this pit stop. So I don't know. I think that the 7 is looking really, really good right now. No pressure at all for this team or driver, and they're in a really, really good spot.
Yeah, but Will Harrison has gained about 3 seconds in this 1 lap alone on this 7 car. He is really flying at the moment. And honestly, that being his first competitive lap on track, he ran the 6th fastest lap of the race right there with 1:14.23. So he's got speed in this car, and it's only a matter of time, I feel, before he gets past the leader and unlaps himself to get one of those laps back.
Yeah, so think about this. We're seeing that this is 10-lap fresher tires. Will Harrison was nearly 3 seconds last time by faster than our leader, Kanauka, who he is now passing to unlap himself 1 of 2 times. So this is something that all of the crew chiefs really need to be watching closely, because there is an opportunity here today for an undercut, a big undercut. And here comes, oh, never mind. But there's a big undercut opportunity in the situation where if somebody like Robert Weaver or Aiden Clare were to come in now or next lap, and Kanauka were to stay out for 1 or 2 laps, they could possibly beat that 7 car on the exit of the pit lane, be ahead just because of the amount of time that they've made up with the fresh tires. And they've got a big advantage in that because they can watch to see when that 7 car doesn't come into the pits critically, and they'll have every opportunity to move themselves over and make that stop in the pit lane, and the 7 won't have a possibility to react to that until the next lap. So I think that this could get interesting here through the rest of the race, especially with some strategy.
And as we close in on the halfway point of this race, we're going to take the halfway lap this time. I would expect a lot of people to really start thinking about splitting this race right down the middle and come in for a stop maybe at the end of this lap or at the very least the next lap. It's going to be very interesting to see who does what on this cycle, which is going to start probably in a few laps' time. But these two have been really close to each other throughout this race. Robert Weaver, Aiden Clare. Clare wants to make this a game-breaker racing 1-2, but he knows the risk of diving it up the inside of Robert Weaver, who knows this sport well enough to anticipate that. As we look a little further up the track, Kanalka does not come in on this lap, so they're going to go a lap longer. Do these guys capitalize? They do not.
No, not yet. Man, I think that I would have pitted right there if I was on the box of any of these teams. Maybe they know something I don't. Nobody seems to be making their pit stop.
Someone came in, Ryan Arnold in the 10. So that's a bold move. He was running at the back anyway. He comes out of the pits, coming up onto the track, and he hits the 66. Weaver goes around from second place.
Oh my goodness, that is a terrible break for Robert Weaver, who was just minding his business, sitting in pretty in second place, had a great clean run going, and has just run into Ryan Arnold. Wow, coming out of the pit lane. That is so disappointing for the 66 team, and now has lost a ton of time and probably going to have to make a pit stop for damage repairs. And look at that, the 10 car, after that I was going to say a brilliant strategy move from that team to really try to set themselves apart and maybe gain some positions back, now has a ton of rear end damage. Man, that is a tough break for both cars.
And Weaver has fallen to 9th place as a result of that collision and going off track. But now here's the pit stops. Kanalka into the pit lane. We'll see Arnold stays out to try and capitalize on fresh tires. Aiden Clare is following his teammate into the pits. Blevins is in. Aiden Smith is in. Yeah, I would expect everybody to try to cover off their losses, especially Robert Weaver with dirt on his tires. He's going to come in. Looks like everybody's going to file their way into the pits. I see someone might be trying to stay out an extra lap, get a bonus point, and it's the 86, so Cameron Brennan.
Okay, Cameron Brennan, I think, needs to stay out for a couple more laps if he can. 2 to 3 more laps just to gain an advantage on the back half of this run. He's not going to get the bonus point this time because the leaders had crossed the line there. He crosses the line technically in 5th, so that's going to be tough. We got a couple more doing this strategy as well. Hopefully they stay out several more laps as long as they can to try to capitalize on this strategy. But man, Robert Weaver, if he had pitted 1 lap sooner, he would have avoided the crash, and he would have also possibly had an opportunity to take the lead away from Kanalka based on the tire wear. But now on the same level playing field as everybody as far as strategy goes, and all the way back in 9th place. That is tough.
So we'll see what Cameron Brennan does here. Remember, on his debut at Provo, he had a very strong run. He finished, I believe, 9th in that race in his first career start. He's failed to finish in the top 30 since then, so he really needs a strong run, and a lap lead here at Sonoma would go a long way for that. We'll see what happens here, because this is a Sanders Performance Autosport team that had a really strong run at Denver in the Superstar Series, but Brennan comes in here.
Yeah, coming in right now. I think that this was an undercut race, and it would have been great to see some people pitting on lap 13 or 14 in this one. And yeah, all of them have called it there and made it their way into the pit stop. So nobody gets the undercut except for the leaders, and Kanalka has effectively eliminated strategy from this race by making a great call, pitting when they did, and now has really capitalized on that. Look at this lead we're about to get as we cross the line. We'll see when the 00 crosses the line, that number update. So the lead is actually down from what it was before the pit stops, but still significant advantage for the 7 car.
Yeah, and you see Cameron Brennan exiting the pits now. We'll see. His goal is to just gain places from where he started the cycle. I believe he was in like 18th when that started. He exits the pits now, right behind Braden Varga. He splits the Team Duke car, as a matter of fact. Looks like we're checking to see if anybody else has any issues coming out of the pits. Doesn't look like anybody else will. So far, so good.
Oh, Ryan Arnold knows how to avoid that situation very well. That car still staying on track, and here's the 55. Probably a scheduled pit stop here.
Yeah, that's for him to try to make it to the end of the race, I'm sure.
Yeah. So all right then. The pit cycle is now complete.
And we're coming to 11 to go here.
Kanauka remains the leader for this race so far, and this 7 car, through the pit stop even, has remained unstoppable, and the teammate car as well, the 00, also has been extremely fast today. So they're both pulling gap for first and second place. The 00 was in an intense battle with the 66 for a lot of this thing, but now is just home free, running in second place and able to build the gap over this 21.
So right now, one thing I've noticed in this race so far, as we run currently, we've got three Toyotas in the top 5, and then the other 2 are Hondas. We got all Japanese manufacturers in the top 5, which I believe would be a first for one-up competition if it finishes this way. So it's a good day to be from the land of the rising sun here today. We've got Kanauka in the lead, and 5 Japanese cars running in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, that's you are right about that. That's an impressive look for these teams. I mean, it's really just a lot of horsepower right now. I mean, there isn't a lot of contest up front. I mean, it's almost a 5-second gap, and the 7 is pulling away. That's for between first and second. Between second and third, it's a 3-second gap and growing between those cars, and then after that, it's another 2 seconds. And I mean, you've got a lot of gap between a lot of these cars in the top 10. So it's a really, kind of a dominating performance from a lot of these drivers. Here's our closest battle. It's between the 66 and 8th and the 01 and 9th.
Yeah, Robert Weaver, it's a tough break for him. He really could have had a good day going. He started on pole, and if the run up the hill had gone a little better, he might have even made something out of this and gotten the lead himself. As we look now at Cameron Brennan, it looks like he did gain a couple spots by staying out an extra lap. He's now up to, I believe, 15th on the racetrack, so good stuff from him. Right in between the Team Duke teammates of Varga and Sear, and making our way up through the field now, once again. And yeah, Wyatt O'Quinn's still far back. Will Harrison's 2 laps down again. But Kanauka, man, what a job this driver has done. At the rate they're going, this could be a max points day for the 17.
Certainly could. And I'll tell you what, one more just a little brief moment about Robert Weaver's race, which, is right now he's in 8th place. But yeah, you mentioned going up the hill on that first lap. Boy, if that had gone a little bit better, he would have ended up the leader of this race. And Kanauka has been so fast today that who knows if he would have kept it or not, but it would have put him in a different position, at least given him the opportunity to defend instead of being on the offense all day. And then again, with that strategy call, pit 1 lap sooner and you don't get in the crash. That is a several huge what-ifs for Robert Weaver and that team. And I'm sure that they'll be looking back at this race as one that got away from them. That is just extremely disappointing for that team, even though they're still running in the top 10, which is a solid result, but not the second place that they had.
Yeah, and he's now 19 seconds off the lead as we're coming to 8 laps to go here. Kev Shearer having a solid race. He's not. We haven't really talked about him much today, and he's not really known to be one of the better road racers in the series. He's good on the places where you can go really fast in the turns, but he's having a solid race here. He's running 5th. He's not the highest running JHM car for a change. That's actually his teammate Ashton Blevins, who's having a career best run currently. But both JHM cars actually in the top 10. Or top 5 actually, so strong stuff from the JHM group.
Yeah, really good outing for those cars, and it's good to see. It's refreshing to see some new faces up front, here in the Nitro National Series, and of course, Kev Shearer, not a new face to us in the Nitro National Series, but you know, having a solid run nonetheless. So it's this has been an interesting one so far. That we've had a lot of different drivers to be able to talk about and tell their story a little bit, and it's been good to watch, especially the 7 car. Just I mean, this is just a total beatdown, an outright butt kicking from the 7 car, and this whole team has put together an incredible performance today. So we'll see if it holds up, but so far it has been mistake-free all the way.
And you remember, this car used to be driven by Aaron Hall in the Nitro National Series. He used to really tear it up in this 7 car. He won a bunch of races for this team in that car, and now, and ever since they got a new driver lineup of Aiden Clare and Nagatsuka Kanauka, we expected them to have a really good year this year after struggling a little last year. But it took a little bit for them to get up to speed. But now, look at this race at Sonoma Raceway. They are running first and second, 4 seconds clear between Claire and Ashton Blevins, and third, 9 seconds before you get to the first non-game breaker car in this field. This is their coming out party.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this has been a stunning performance. It is like a throwback to the Aaron Hall days of this series, where it was every single week those cars were up there fighting for wins, and yeah, it had slowed down a little bit. You know, there's several factors that can lead to that at a team. I mean, you got to be operating on all cylinders all the time. So you're switching out drivers, you're switching out crew chiefs, you know, things are changing, sponsorship and crew and personnel. And sometimes it just, it takes a little bit of time to really get all of that greased up and rolling again. And now, obviously today, it's all coming to fruition.
Another stop for Will Harrison. I believe that's his 6th pit stop in this race. That is, I'm sure he expected and hoped for better in this race, but it's good that he made the field. It's showing that they're making progress over at Grant Racing, but this is just a race I think they're going to want to forget and move on to next race at Richmond to try and make something happen of this. But so far, Brennan's doing a good job. He's running just inside the top 15 here as Harrison exits the pits again, and he hits Tegan Fox in the 78 around.
Yeah, Tegan Fox really could have moved out of the way there, I think, but unfortunately, Will Harrison has not shown a ton of grace coming out of the pit lane today, more than several times. So Tegan Fox, unfortunately, is the next victim of that bad pit road entrance that we have here at Sonoma. It's just a matter of how it's all built, how it's all laid out. You have slow cars feeding directly into the racing groove of the fast cars here, and that's just what happens when that's the design and the layout. So hey, Tegan Fox has unfortunately suffered. It seems to be the least bad of the 3 incidents we've had in that section of the track.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, because Tegan Fox has fallen from 10th all the way back to 24th now. So.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that's how far back the 78 fell. I thought that it was less positions lost than that. So
well, the one thing this does do is it bumps up the 72 of Kaduyashov into the top 10 once again. And Logan Williams, you just never count out this 83 car in the Nitro National Series. He has climbed up to 11th place, and if he can get past the 72, that would be a 7th top 10 in 9 races this season.
Yeah, and he has climbed from 17th place in this race, a starting position of 17th. So maybe a mix of strategy there, and then just good. Oh, and the 53 has lost a motor coming out of turn 2, and it has stacked up the whole field. And this car is stopped on the track in a really dangerous spot. So I'm sure that's going to get solved. There it is. But
yeah, and remember, that's a teammate to Will Harrison. It's his team owner, Kenneth Grant. Wow. So this is going to be a nightmare of a day for Grant Racing, one of the small teams in the series. We love having him here. And of course, Kenneth Grant, he was the winner of the first ever One-Up Nitro National Series race 4 years ago. But this is going to be a race they're going to very much want to put behind them.
Yeah, that is just a really disappointing performance from that whole team. And honestly, there wasn't a lot that they could have done differently here to avoid it. It's just a lot of bad luck and a lot of bad timing, I think, for both of those race cars. So, hey, you know, they'll go home. They'll not want to watch this back, and they'll move on to the next week. And that's just the way it's going to have to be.
Yes, they'll head to Richmond and hope for better things for their 55 and 53 teams. But so far, Kanauka's lead, it just keeps getting bigger. It's almost 9 seconds between themselves and teammate Aiden Clare in this race. And yeah, Grant's going to be done for the day, and this will help Will Harrison. It'll move him up one spot, and that's probably all we'll get at the end of this race. But Grant Racing's loss is Gamebreaker Racing's gain. They run 1-2 at the moment, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Although, as we've seen in races past, you never count anything out until the checkered flag flies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we just saw an engine failure in this one, and you know, this is not the easiest track for motors and transmissions and everything like that. You know, I mean, you're doing a lot of shifting here. You're on the brakes a ton. You're going up through the RPMs, and you're going down in low RPMs around this track at a lot of different sections. So yeah, it's a stressful track for the equipment. So you never know what'll happen, but if everything goes as planned, yeah, Kanauka will be the winner at the end of the day with the 00 following into the sunset. But that's only if everything goes as planned, which it rarely does.
We expect the unexpected is what we've come to learn. Not only this week, but in several races in the past. But Ashton Blevins is actually starting to close in a little bit on Aiden Clare. He's got the gap down a little bit. It's down to about 3.5 seconds. So don't count out that 21 car in the late stages, especially by the end of this thing, because we're coming to 2 laps to go, and the lead is almost 10 seconds. So barring a catastrophic issue for Kanauka, the race for the win is gonna be pretty settled. But don't count out a battle for second by the end of this thing, because Blevins is on his way.
Yeah, that 21 car has shown speed all day. I mean, sitting in 3rd place right now, was in 4th before Robert Weaver had the issue. And just a really, really good run, really fast car, and possibly going to have an opportunity, maybe just one opportunity into the final corner against the 00 to possibly try to take that 2nd position away. We'll see how fast he's able to gain time.
And right now, the gap's down to 2.2 seconds between Clare and Blevins. So the 21 is making a late run at it here. We're coming to the white flag, of course, this time. But right now, it's Kanauka's race to lose. They have an 11-second lead. But the battle for second raging on. Will this be a game breaker 1-2? Or will Ashton Blevins sneak in a career-best runner-up finish?
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating one to watch to the end. But this 7 car, just every single lap, hitting the marks, hitting the apex. Just every time, no problem at all around Sonoma Raceway for this 7 car. Just absolutely dominating this race right now. And it's a stunner. People are going to watch this one back and think, how could they possibly have done that? It's uncanny. It's unacceptable for these other teams to have lost this badly. But you know what? There's nothing you can do sometimes. You know, Kanauka has just been that good all day. The car, the team, the driver, every piece has been in the exact right spot it needed to be for this to work out. And this 7 car has absolutely earned this one.
Only half a lap to go for Nagatsuka Kanauka to get their first career win in the 1UP Nitro National Series. And boy, is this going to be one they're never going to forget. Down the hill, through the S's, coming up towards that turn. There's only one real braking zone left on this lap, and it's turn 11. So Kanauka, with an 11.5-second lead, is going to be cruising home. And hopefully Aiden Clare can bring home a game-breaker 1-2, because this has really been their impressive run of today has been legendary for that team. So coming through turn 11, Kanauka aces the apex on that corner. Now it's just a mash the gas and cruise home for Nagatsuka Kanauka, who for Game Breaker Racing gets their first win of the season, their first career win as a driver. Kanauka gets the job done at Sonoma Raceway. Fantastic stuff. And there is Aiden Clare as well. fantastic stuff from Game Breaker Racing, and he crosses the line too, bringing home a Game Breaker 1-2, 12.5 seconds behind his teammate, but I don't think he'll care very much about that. He brought home a 1-2 for the team, and that is something we're really going to be keeping an eye on to see if this team can keep up their form for the rest of this season, because that is an impeccable drive. Ashton Blevins, a career best result regardless for him, in 3rd place. That's going to boost him into the top 30 in owners points, and that's going to be a big relief to that team. Aiden Smith, another one who gets a career best result, in 4th place. That's what that team needed. Kev Shearer brings it home 5th. Quiet day for him out of the JHM stables, beaten by his teammate today. Nicky Martinez, 6th. Highest placed American-made car today, in 6th place for Nicky Martinez. But I don't think they'll complain. That's their first top 10 of the year. Henry, or one of their first anyway. Henry Thomas, 7th. Robert Weaver, what could have been for him, in 8th place today after so many misses. Cody Goforth will keep the points lead in 9th, and Kadir Yashov completes the top 10, denying Logan Williams a chance at a 7th top 10 in 9 races, but still a strong run for him. He'll stay 2nd in points after a great 11th place finish, but Kanalka, what can you say? That was a fantastic drive, a dominating performance, led every lap today, fastest lap of the race, max points day. It's not quite a Grand Slam because they started 2nd today, but that's still a max points day for Kanalka, and this is not going to be one they're going to forget anytime soon.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is just a performance for the ages, you know, here at Sonoma Raceway. Just a total domination of the day from Game Breaker Racing, and those two drivers have just absolutely showed up and showed out here. So very well done. You know, from start to finish, this race was won midweek in the shop, or even weeks ago, preparing these race cars for this track, working to prepare the drivers for this track. They show up, no mistakes all day, get the job done. Fantastic performance.
So from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Sonoma Raceway, where Game Breaker Racing's put on a clinic here today. We'll see if they can keep up that form at Richmond next time out. A completely different track. Only 3/4 of a mile. The bumping and banging will be quite severe there. We'll see how they get on at Richmond. But for now, so long from Sonoma, California. We'll see you again at Richmond, but congratulations to Game Breaker Racing, a 1-2 finish led home by Nagatsugu Kanalka. First career win for them.